Greetings in the name of Yahusha Mashiach, Melech of Yasharal, Kohen forever, according to the order of Melchizedek. All esteem, honor, and glory unto our Alua, Yahuwah. My name is MELEK Shelemoh. This is MELEK Shelemoh Trading. The time is 11:49 a.m. Eastern Time. It's the 8th of April, 2025. And let's just play this risk disclosure before we start.
General disclosure. All MELEK Shelemoh Trading LLC materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure. Trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
Okay, so let's get into some technical analysis for the week on the ES mini futures. So we're going to start with the US dollar. We're going to do an overall market analysis and get a sentiment for where the market is headed.
Iceberg
So
ES buy.
right now we're on the daily chart here of the US dollar. These are some monthly levels on the Camarille's and the floor pivots, right? So that's floor pivot R1 at 13,234. Now this is the US index basket FXCM, right? It's from the Dow Jones, so it's not the Dixie, right? So US dollar, let's see if I could pull this up real quick so you could see it. Right, so that's the ticker right there, FXCM, US dollar index basket, and
Stock
it's a more
run ESL
comprehensive
wipeout.
index basket than the Dixie, in my opinion, right? So if you want to check it out, you could check it out. So you might see some different numbers here compared to the Dixie, right? So floor pivot R1, 13,234. We have Camarilla R3 for the monthly. It's resting roughly at 13,087. We have a rejection here. So we went down to the S1 floor pivot. That's at 12,889.
Stock run ESL wipeout.
Camarilla S4. That was a double pivot zone. We scooped down to almost at floor pivot S2, 12,831. We got the bounce up here, and now we're back up at the monthly Camarilla R3 level. So it's looking bullish. This could be an accumulation phase. We might get a pushback down to the lows, but if we do create a bigger automatic
Stock
rally,
run
we could get up
ESL
to a floor
wipeout.
pivot R1 on the monthly. So these right here are longer term lower deviation bands. First lower, second lower, third lower deviation. And these right here are the monthly deviations. So those began at the beginning of the month. So we have upper deviation rejection lining up with Camarilla R3 and the central pivot. We have a little bit of rejection happening here. We had some buyers stepping in, pushing us back up, but we didn't really break above Camarilla R3. So that's a lower high, which could indicate this is my Black Sun strategy where it's a pivot level. We have upper deviations and we could push back down from there. So it's Black Sun strategy is basically like a mean reversion, pivot level, and upper deviation rejection play, short play, right? So this is VWAP from a longer term anchored VWAP. You see that even that is creating somewhat of a resistance. So we're basically retesting that VWAP on a longer term point of view. We had a push up here above this first lower deviation and we got sellers again. So now we have this push up above this lower deviation and it's looking like we're maintaining this. So from a longer term time frame perspective, this is what I call a bowling green strategy where we have Camarilla S3 on the monthly. We have a lower deviation. We're seeing the support buying. We get the retest right there. And now we're pushing up further. So if this plays out as a bowling green reversal, we're going up to, well, not exactly. We're going up to floor pivot R1. But this is a bullish target right here. right? These are resistance levels that we have to break through if we get that reversal. If it's a black sun strategy on a longer time frame, or let's say it's a 360 fire strategy on a longer time
Tracking.
frame, it's
Iceberg
basically a
ES
retest
sell.
of VWAP,
Stop run ES buy wipeout.
and we get the pushback down, which will coincide with an automatic rally, right? So we're looking to see what the US dollar is going to do right here. Are we going to break up? Are we going to reject off of Camarilla R3 of the monthly level and break down, or what? So
Stop run ES
let's
buy
see. I'm
wipeout.
going to go over to Euro USD. I actually just put on a trade on Euro USD. So it's a small, hold on one second. So it's only a micro 2 lot. Seeing a little distribution structure developing here. It's an
Stop run
uptrust.
ES sell
We're
wipeout.
creating some lower points of supply. So I'm going with basically the US dollar strength and this euro starting to distribute, right? So well, I'm looking for price to take it all the way back down here, recover all of this. This would be a low volume area because we had big buying sweeps pushing up, big bars going up here. So this would create a low volume area where we could push through kind of easily to get back down here where buyers initiated their position. So just a little small 2 micro lot and looking to get down here to 1.05021. So it's a longer term play on the daily chart. Now my stop is not going to stay here.
Stop run ES
After
buy
today, I'll
wipeout.
probably move it down to this level. So I want to see price action keep on pushing to the downside for me to bring my stop lower. So I'm not really actually risking this. If we do push above this level, I'll stop out. So just leaving it there for now. Let's go over to the currency strength indicator from quantum trading. So on the daily, we see that the Swiss is strong, the CAD is strong. We're getting the euro breaking down now. This is the US dollar is pushing up, and
Stop
now
run
they're
ES
about to
buy
cross.
wipeout.
When they cross, excuse me, sorry about that. When they cross, I'm about to, well, this is how I'm anticipating the cross, and I'm taking the short. So I'm short the euro, looking for the US dollar to keep moving to the upside. So that's the trade right there on the daily chart. Let's see, we're looking at the euro here. On the 1 hour chart, the euro is breaking down quite heavily right here. US dollar pulling back as well, but looking like we're getting like a double bottom there and it's pushing back up, right? On the 15-minute chart, we're seeing the US dollar strength, euro pulling back a little bit, trying to fight it a little bit. So I'm going with this right here, right? The dominant euro selling, US dollar strength. All right, let's take a look at the bonds. Let's go to the weekly chart on the bonds. So this is Muni Bonds, MUB, that's the ticker, right? iShares National Muni Bond ETF. So big week selling right here. This week, big sell-off. Everybody's selling US bonds. Nobody wants US bonds right now. And that just says it all right there. No need to really go into any let's see floor pivot. The monthly floor pivot is 101.8. So that seems to be the target. They're going to the extreme right now in selling. And let's look at the daily chart. Daily anchored from this level where sellers took control. See the VWAPs right there. We're breaking down these lower deviations.
Stop run ES buy
Again, nothing
wipeout.
really much to
Stop
say.
run
Big
ES buy
selling in the
wipeout.
bonds. Nobody
Stop
wants
run
US
ES
bonds
buy
right now.
wipeout.
Let's see on the weekly here. On the weekly, we already broke down from the weekly floor pivot S4 level 103.73. So definitely strong bullish bearish move. Nobody wants US bonds. Right. So we go into the US 20. Let's see here some interest rates. We're gonna look at the 20. The 20 is pushing up to Camaria R5 on the weekly level. So we're seeing a distribution happening here, possibly moving to the downside from here. If we do hold this level and start pushing up, we could go to this is floor pivot R1. We almost got that target, so let's see if they could achieve it. If not, then we're gonna start breaking down Camaria R4, Camaria R3 next. Right. So let's take a look at
Stop run ES sell wipeout.
this is the 10-year weekly pivot levels. We're up here at Camaria R4. I need to adjust these. These aren't correct, so let me just move those away. I haven't adjusted these yet. Right, so open that up. Right, so on the 10-year, we're at the weekly Camaria R4
Stop
level.
run ES sell
We have
wipeout.
distribution at previous week's high.
Stop run
You
ES
see
buy
the same
wipeout.
pattern here. Buying climax, up trust after distribution, looking to get the breakdown to Camaria R3. So same story on this right here, looking bearish until further notice, looking like a distribution. If it does push above that structure, then we could talk about it going more bullish or going into a real uptrend. Right now, this is probably just an automatic rally from these levels. These bases at the Camaria S3 level on the weekly, pushing up to the Camaria R3 and R4 level. Nice automatic rally structure, creating distribution here again. Right, buying climax, up trust after distribution, possible breakdown. So that was the 10-year. Let's go to the 5-year. So the 5-year already moving away from Camaria R4 on the weekly, approaching Camaria R3 now. I'm gonna break down here. And same distribution structure, looking where it's looking like the same distribution structure. We have the automatic rally in play off of the selling climax, automatic rally,
Tracking.
possible
Iceberg ES
secondary
buy.
stop gonna be created now. So let's see if that plays out. And yeah, let's move on from this. We're gonna go to the VIX. VIX on the daily.
Tracking.
Not
Iceberg
the daily, I
ES
mean the
buy.
daily levels, the daily Camaria levels. This is the 5-minute chart. The VIX is breaking down Camaria S3, which is this level, broke down, almost got to Camaria S4, pushing back up, retesting Camaria S3. This is looking like a 360 fire strategy where I take the short on the retest of Camaria S3 after the breakdown. If we do breakdown here, we could get some kind of bullish reversal today. If this does push up from this level and get support, then we could get that continuation lower in the ES. All right, here let's look at the 3-month 90 delta CBOE for the VIX. So this is just basically the VIX on a longer time frame. These are some weekly levels. Camaria S3, we dipped below, we found buyers, and it's pushing back up now. We came up to Camaria S2 level and last week's close, which is 61.15. So it's looking like we're rejecting off of last week's close. And let's see if Camaria S3 is going to create support and we push up higher. That'll create more volatility in the ES and probably push down further. Push the
Stop run ES sell
further down.
wipeout.
Let's see. Let's go to the 9-day.
Stop run ESL wipeout.
So getting support at Camarillo S3 already pushing up, right? So that's looking like it's gonna push the ES further down. So we're getting the support here at Camarillo S3 and floor pivot S1 on the weekly level, and it's looking like we want to probably, I don't know, maybe get back to previous week's high, something like that, but we'll see. So right, and this is the CBOE VIX volatility index. So
Stop
it's
run
basically
ES
a
by
VIX of a
wipeout.
VIX, right? So this is, it pushed down to Camarillo S4 weekly level. No, actually it's a daily level. Found support basically at the same place as found support at Camarillo S4, which is a
Tracking.
little lower than
Iceberg
the VIX.
ESL.
I don't think the VIX got to Camarillo S4. Let's just go back there real quick. Yes, it did not get down
Stop
there,
run ES
right?
by wipeout.
But the VIX of the VIX did get down there, and now we push back up to Camarillo S3, got a rejection, and see, they got to push back up or sell back off. If it sells off, then I guess that's bullish for the ES, right? So
Stop run
let's,
ES by wipeout.
all right, let's get into some ES charts. So that's the overall sentiment so far in the market. We have US dollar strength, euro weakness. We have the currencies showing euro weakness. We have possible distributions in the interest rates, 10-year, 20-year. We have bonds selling off. We have the VIX pushing down, now pushing back up on the daily. So basically looking like it's recovering to the upside, maybe some more weakness in the markets. So let's see how the market is responding. So this is my channel chart, pushing down here, downtrend in this channel, broke the channel, trying to get back in the channel and getting this rejection. So that's simple enough. We have this volume profile set from the initiation of this downtrend channel, coming back into, let's open this real quick, coming back into a
Stop
low
run
volume
ESL
area. So
wipeout.
this isn't really my volume chart. I have a volume chart, so we'll get into that there. But basically trying to come back into the range and failing right now. So let's get down to the Wyckoff theory, which is basically my major technical analysis style, right? So we had the distribution, labeled that out.
Stop run ESL wipeout.
That was the uptrust. We get the breakdown. This is the downtrend. And let's see, I'm just trying to run through this real quick and get to the current area. So this right here, I was looking at this as a possible accumulation. So label that out with the selling climax. We have the secondary stop. Secondary stop was below the selling climax. That was looking a little weak right there, looking like seller dominance, maybe a continuation. But then we started to get this. We created this huge uptrust, but fell back down and created this secondary stop sign of weakness, right, after the uptrust. So after that, pushed up here, got back into the range, actually pushed above the automatic rally here at 57.28 and found sellers again. So the dominant trend took hold, dominant sellers took hold, pushed the market all the way down. This was looking like a possible sign of weakness. Well, it was looking like a possible spring, but it's really a sign of weakness test. We pushed down, real aggressive. Now we're going to start labeling this here as a possible thermal shakeout from this accumulation area, right? It could just be basically a retest or a lower point of supply in the major selling trend, the dominant selling trend, right, downtrend, and this could be just another lower point of supply. But we have big volume coming in here, possible selling climax, terminal shakeout, and then we start moving back up into this distribution. So right now today I was looking at what's going to happen here. Now this is a sign right here of seller dominance. We have high volume selling. This should have been a low. If this was going to be a
Tracking.
reversal
Iceberg
out of
ES
here,
buy.
I would think we would get low volume selling. If that was a test, we should get low volume, no, not much selling resistance, basically. But this here, this wick right here, and this buying, that's looking like selling pressure right there. So buyers trying to take it back up again. And now we get in this kind of reversal pattern. So this is my LPSY. This is in the dominant trend, the selling trend. Considering this right here, a redistribution structure, because if it's not one thing, it's the next, right? So we don't know until price action shows us, but we could anticipate what it might be. So if this is accumulation, we should take this as a terminal shakeout and push back up. If this is redistribution, then these are the lower points of supply and we continue in the downtrend. Right. So if either way, this, let's say this is a terminal shakeout or this is accumulation now, we're gonna look at this area here for automatic rally. That's what I was looking for today. So with that being said, let's go to, this is a VWAP chart anchored from the 20th of February, right? So that's my longer time frame VWAP bands. This one is anchored from where we get this lower point of supply. We retest up here on the 26th of March, anchored from there. And then we have from the beginning of the week down here. So while I'm doing this analysis, I'll just point out which bands we're looking at, right? So we have these lower deviations from the week. We retest it. We're creating this automatic rally. We're pushing up to these upper deviations from the weekly level. We're also running into these lower deviations from the higher time frame anchored, right? So this is two things happening here, two strategies from a longer term perspective happening at the same time. This could be a 360 fire or a black sun strategy. From the weekly levels, weekly anchored, that's a black sun strategy. We're getting rejection from the upper deviations, probably a breakdown. From a longer term perspective, we're retesting these lower deviations. We're getting something like a distribution. This is a 360 fire. So both of them are short trade setups. So if we start breaking down this level here at, what is that? What is that? Let's say 51.81 right here. 51.8450. That would start confirming to me that we're going to create this secondary stop and push down back down to the lows.
Tracking. Iceberg ES buy.
So now let's look at the volume point of control chart. This is a
Tracking.
weekly volume point
Iceberg
of
ES
control.
buy.
So it's 114
Tracking.
bars.
Iceberg
So
ES
that's how
buy.
much bars on the hourly chart that a weekly session takes up. So that's always set to 114, and so I'm going back a week of trading. This is like a little distribution structure right here, basically a D profile, right? We have the lower volume
Tracking.
area
Iceberg
right
ES
here,
sell.
and in the bigger time frame of it is basically a B-shaped profile. So the volume point of control is at 51.7650. We're holding above that right now, but we're getting the rejection at this lower volume node at 52.8675. So that's in line with creating, if we break down VPOC at 51.75. Hold on 1 second. All right, sorry about that. If we break down this VPOC 51.7525, we could possibly create that secondary stop down to the lows of the structure or the outer edge. This is a 2-week volume profile. Basically, let's see, what's the whole profile is looking, I would say roughly a B profile as well. We have 2 high volume nodes here at 51.8425.
Stop run ESL
and
wipeout.
remember that from what I just said previously, 51.8425 was a significant level on the VWAP bands for a breakdown. We have another high volume node here at 5,000. So same kind of D profile here in this section, low volume area, the outer edge of it, we're getting rejection from there. And overall for the 2 weeks, it's looking like a B profile, but we have a cluster here as well as at the volume point of control. So either way, maybe a P profile, but I would say more of the volume is down here. The biggest volume area VPOC is here. That's showing me
Tracking.
dominant
Iceberg
sellers
ES
to
buy.
control. And now we're rejecting on this retest. And this is the weekly so far. This is basically showing a D profile formation. We have the VPOC down here at 5,650, 5,350, and basically getting the same outer edge rejection
Tracking.
for a
Iceberg
reversal
ES
play
buy.
back down to this level here, reinforcing the automatic rally scenario. All right, going over to the pivot chart now on the 1 hour. We have these weekly levels. This is a golden pivot zone where the
Stop run
central
ESL
pivot is at
wipeout.
53.1925. Camarillo weekly level is at 53.03 or 0275. So we're getting that rejection here. This is more confluence as
run
I'm
ES
going
buy
along. You're
wipeout.
seeing different charts, different
Tracking.
ways of
Iceberg ES
analyzing the
sell.
market.
Stop
And we're
run
getting
ES buy
basically a
wipeout.
confluence here. So this is a resistance zone. We're getting the rejection, possible automatic reaction, or secondary stop back to Camarillo S3 at 49.1675. So this is playing out right now. We're getting the distribution here and possibly a traverse back down to these levels here. Actually, you know what? This is a good place for me to take an options trade in the market somewhere. I need to find maybe on a
Stop run
SPY.
ES sell wipeout. Stop
All
run
right.
ES
So
sell
yeah.
wipeout. Stop run ES sell wipeout.
So yeah, that's basically it. We're looking at a possible secondary stop in the making. And let's see if the market continues
Stop
to the
run
upside,
ES
if it
sell
defines
wipeout. Stop
the
run ES sell
wipeout
wipeout.
strategy
Stop
setup.
run ES sell wipeout.
If we're accumulating
Stop run
here,
ES
then we're
sell
gonna come
wipeout.
back down here anyway, right? So within the intermediate time frame, or let's say between tomorrow
Stop run ES buy wipeout.
and Thursday, we could get back down
Stop
here.
run ES
But
sell
it could
wipeout.
be accumulation, and we're stopping the downtrend right now. If we do break these lows and continue going, then well, the market is selling off. That's
Stop
what
run
it is.
ES sell wipeout.
Alrighty, also that's my technical analysis for the week. And I'm gonna do another I did some trades today. I'll do another video for that. Alright, y'all. It's Mikhail Shalomoh, MELEK Shelemoh Trading. Shalom.